All right, guys, Melissa here. Super hot in my apartment right now. Super hot. I walked in the door and I was like, holy moly, holy chamoli, holy cow. The doorknobs were hot. I thought there was a fire when I walked in here. I'm like, holy cow, I'm sweating still. And yeah, my face cream was all melted. Everything was super hot. So I've got the windows open. Someone left the heat on like high all day. And I'm like, holy cow. I don't know who did it, but whoa. I mean, I could have just fallen asleep here, So hot. So, anyways, I just want to talk about helping women with work situations in general. So, as I talked about this morning, sometimes you have to take the bull by the horns and deal with stuff. So, I'm so glad I had my mindset straightened out this morning, before I went to work. Mindset is really important, and that is usually why I have, well, two reasons. I said usually it's disrespect that I move on, from another job, but a lot of times it's also to look for better opportunity. And it really doesn't matter what kind of job you have, honestly, as long as it's not immoral. Like I was watching this financial show, you can probably guess what it is, and they have another woman who makes her money in immoral ways, right? So many women do that, and it's really just a shortcut is what it is. It's a quick fix to a debt problem they have. And it says, okay, I'll be okay if I do this, but you're really selling your body and you're in bondage, is the truth. And a lot of women don't like it and they will try to get out of it. So, if you want to be used, I mean, go ahead and do that. But you are so valuable. Why would you do such a thing, right? And I mean, for me, like where I'm going through a divorce, in my youth was very different. With a lot of hurt and not knowing how to deal with relationships. I am not looking at marriage again. I was talking to one of my coworkers the other night about marriage and how important it is to have two solid people who are committed. Especially in this day and age, he was saying, especially in this day and age, it's crazy out there. So, there's a lot of men who feel like they are very lucky men married. And really, it's all about perspective. Like, I was in a networking event and somebody read a story about like this woman who, had a fire and then she had this and then she had that and she had all these things going wrong. And then she said, just kidding, I'm not pregnant. My boyfriend does have a job. Just kidding. But the truth is, I failed my exams and her family was paying for the college, right? And so, after everything she had told them about being homeless and all this stuff, those grades, those failed grades, didn't look so bad. And that was the point of the story. The point of the story was perspective in life, right? So it's all about perspective. You can choose to be happy in the deepest pit in life, you can still find joy. You know, happiness is not our circumstances. So, anyways, I decided yesterday, this is something I heard a pastor say, and it really helped me in life. Plan your obedience first. When you have a mindset that you have already planned on what you're going to do, how you're going to obey God, and how you're going to deal with things, it just, it's preset. You're already good. So I had my mindset in a certain place today, and I went into work, and I had a look like, let's go over here from somebody because you're in trouble kind of thing. And I thought, this is so stupid, this is so stupid, right? So my it was two against one. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to take the bull by the horns with two. So I waited, and my boss just went off and wanted to make sure he said that I understood and that he was going to let this slide. He wasn't going to write me up, and I didn't really receive it. I mean, I wasn't gonna, thank him for doing me a favor for something I didn't even feel like I did. So, although I do appreciate it, I mean, I just, you negotiate, right? So he's like, I'm gonna let it slide, but from now on, you need to make sure you're checking out. And I'm like, I did, you need to show me some proof I didn't because I don't have a receipt, for the tablet. And he's like, well, you didn't. See, you thought you did. You thought you did. And I'm like, get the camera out. Let me see the pictures. Because I'm standing there, right? And I'm standing there with the tablet. So I said, I cannot believe, he's like, I want you to understand my side. I go, great. Now I have a perspective too, and I told him how I felt. I said, I cannot believe you would write somebody up before sitting down, having a conversation, and figuring out what is going on. And so he was saying the system isn't very good. And then his witness, which is also my witness, because he's hearing me too, right? Was like, yeah, it took me a while to understand not only do you do a survey, but then you have to exit out. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. Oh, I didn't know that. And the boss is like, no, you did know that because sometimes you do exit out. And I'm like, I didn't know you had to exit out, right? So I'm like, okay, why don't you just talk to people instead of writing them up? So anyways, totally different perspective. And I'm like, look, he kept going on and on. I'm like, I'm just gonna let you go in one ear and out the other because this is stupid, I said. So so we talked it out, and I'm like, okay, fine, now I know, and it won't happen again. And he's like, make sure you're doing everything, or else. I'm like, okay, it won't happen again. And I kind of gave him a little bit of icy, kind of cold shoulder, a tiny bit. I distanced myself. It was more for me to distance myself this morning, to protect myself. And sure enough, I had to deal with two people, and the accusations were with that. What else did I get accused of? He accused me of stealing before when someone gave me food. He accused me. Oh, and then he accused me of something else today. He's like, when you called in the other day, that was selfish. You were only thinking about yourself. You weren't thinking about me, and I could be short. Not my problem. People call in, right? We had already agreed. I made a point for him, getting my schedule wrong over and over and over. I don't know how many times it's been. So so stand your ground, and and then after I went to work, and I'm like, well, that customer didn't get very good service. And I said it to one of the managers, and he's like, what? I go, I'm so discouraged right now that that customer didn't even get that good of service. Showing them when you act like this to a worker, it comes back on you, right? So then I leaned on a coworker and said, I'm just so discouraged because, I'm getting threatened to get written up for this. I've never gotten written up, never gotten written in trouble in school, nothing, right? So she's like, oh, I get written up all the time. I get written up constantly for stupid stuff. And she was telling me what she got written up for. And so she made me feel better, 100% better. So, and then she's like, that machine, that's just not working right. It's funky. There's something about it that's not working right. I'm thinking all this time, that's what I've been trying to say. Something's going on that I don't understand. So all is well, to a point. I mean, we had a coupon where it said, someone is is not going to get cheese free. So I charged them. Then I was told not to charge them. Then I asked somebody to put something together for me to show me how it works. They did. They did it the wrong way. Who got the blame? Me. All I could do was laugh today. That's all I did was laugh. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm getting tired. And all this miscommunication is just getting ridiculous. So I'm just kind of waving, riding the waves, just like I did in school. When I was at school, I used to just talk to my friends, and my husband was the one who was always in trouble. And he'd be like, this is stupid. So then he actually got to the point in class that he would come out and say, this is stupid. Or, he'd make jokes in class. And every single time he opened his mouth, off to the principal's office. So you just got to realize sometimes you can't win. If I do want to look for another job, I can take the time to find another one during the day. I mean, I love my night job, but right now, like I said, it's for me, and I am good with my schedule, with how it works for me. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now at this time in my life. It almost seems like I think God is using this job in my life to get through a lot of the negative thinking. So, a lot of times when we want to leave a job, it's because the mindset is just so destructive in so many jobs. I mean, so many people have to take care of their mental health when they're working, right? So I think for me, it's been important to get through some of this negativity and just old school mentality, right? Because you have other jobs that are like, if anyone's been through anything in life, trauma, they don't have much money, whatever, we actually make time for them to talk about how can we make you succeed even when you're going through something in life. And I think that is a terrific idea. I really do, to work with people because everyone comes into work with different situations. And I know I'm going through a divorce and my son is missing, but I'm really fine. It's just I've grown a lot in my mindset, like tons. I mean, I'm just like, I mean, I'm ready to manage and have my own business, right? But for some reason, this is a time for me to humble myself and go to a basic job and kind of take the heat for a while until I decide later on, what I want to do later on and how my business is going and real estate class and everything else. So, I was rewarded well today for trusting God and just go in and take a punishment and let God deal with it. So I was rewarded for that and rewarded financially too with my other job that I'm going into soon. So I was rewarded and I was able to catch up on a couple bills. And so I have money put aside for an emergency fund, and all is good. So that's kind of maybe a couple ideas that would help people, just kind of, zone out and let it go in one ear and out the other. But when you have opportunity to speak, which I did try to speak again, and I was cut off saying, okay, so are you saying this now? Because this is what, and I'm like, no, 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 this is what I'm trying to say. Cut off again. So it really didn't matter. So just bear with certain things, guys. You got to bear with it and ride the waves. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.